Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Justin and I make weekly videos where I go through my budgeting process. I work a 9-to-5 job. I get paid every 2 weeks. And that means that every other week when I'm not getting paid, I am creating videos that are not always about allocations. Sometimes I do smaller allocations of supplemental income from some of my side hustles, but today's video is going to be a month in review recap video for the month of March 2025. So before I forget, because I always forget, I'm going to move myself up to the top. That way I'm not blocking and ruining the video. So before we get into the recap, I've got some things that I wanted to go over about my budget, about the future, and I'm excited about what's in store for me. So if you're new, one of my 2025 goals is to pay off my car loan. Back in December, towards the end of December, I traded in my Tacoma truck, which had a quite large loan balance, and I traded it in for a 2022 Jetta, which basically cut my debt burden in half. So I think it cut it down more than half, but either way, it significantly lowered my burden and shortened the length of time that it would take me to get debt free. So I made it a goal of mine to get the car loan paid off in 6 months at the earliest, and at the very latest, 12 months, which would put me being debt-free, completely paid off, no later than the end of this year, the end of 2025. I will get into it here in a little bit, but if you don't know, I like to project, I like to forecast. I don't like surprises. If there is a way for me to control the future, meaning if I can account for variables, situations, I'm going to try to do it. So I'm constantly projecting my income, my expenses several months out to kind of make sure that I'm not going to put myself in a bad situation, 3 or 4 months down the road. I also like to project out my car loan. So the way you do that is using an amortization schedule. But what I found is most of the online schedules are not very accurate to my loan. I don't know why. I don't think I've ever found an amortization schedule that is accurate. And so I don't tend to use them. But over the weekend, I decided to make my own. And so I'm going to, let's see if I can remember what. Okay, perfect. So this is my amortization schedule that I created. Most amortization, I'm going to call them A schedules. That word is so long and it's a tongue twister. So most A schedules will only show you the data for each payment that you're scheduled to make. For the most part, I think most auto loans, if not all auto loans, accrue interest daily. And so what I created is a daily A schedule. This way I can track the daily accrued interest, which will help me project the distribution of my future payments towards interest and principal. If you're not familiar, when you make a car payment, that payment is split between interest and principal, and it's based on the amount of interest that accrued since your last regular payment. And that is the amount that goes towards interest. The rest goes towards principal. So essentially what I've done is I've created this table that looks at each day between now, and I think I have it going through August, because my intent was to have my car paid off by August. I'm tracking the principal balance. So I want to know what that principal balance is. I'm also tracking the payoff balance. That way I know towards the end of the loan how much more I need to pay on top of the principal balance to get paid off. Like I said, I'm tracking daily accrued interest. This is going to be based on your interest rate and the principal balance that day. And I have 2 columns here that allows me to manually enter in the principal payment and an interest payment. And together, combined, that will adjust the principal balance and the payoff balance accordingly. I also have in here, in future months for payments, I've got calculations to determine how much interest has been accrued since my last payment. So I know when I make my payment on April 25th, if I make my payment on April 25th, normally I pay early, but if I make my payment on April 25th and I don't make any other payments prior, I will have $112 of my payment go towards interest, and the rest will go towards principal. I'm also able to track principal payments, like lump sum principal payments, and those adjust directly the principal balance, which will in turn lower the amount of interest that is accrued daily. And so what I've done, and this is the really, really good news for me, is I projected out scheduled payments, assuming I'm making them on the 25th, my due date, and also principal balance payments throughout between now and the end of August, based on my projected income. And what I have found is if I scroll down, I will have my car paid off by just before the end of July. So my goal was to have it paid off by August. It looks like I'm going to be able to do that. It looks like I'm just going to barely make it to have it done. And the great part about it is you've been hearing me talk about how I am not looking forward to doing rideshare like Uber to make money. Because I'm going back to school, if you're not familiar, I'm going back to school. I'm using my veterans benefits, my GI Bill. And one of the benefits, other than them paying for my school, is that I get monthly checks from the VA. And I have also projected out my benefit payouts, and that's what this table is. So my benefit payouts for this degree, I will get cash to me about $9,500 by the end of my degree. So if I stay on track, I'll be graduating in December. I started in March. As you can see, my first payout should be tomorrow. So they usually pay out the first of the month like in arrears. So I get paid on April 1st for my benefit period of March. And how they do it is there's a dollar amount that they pay, and they pay you for each day that you're basically in school. So each of these days is how much I will be in school for that particular month. And I am able to forecast or project out the payment that I will get for that month. My math is pretty spot on. My math is actually like 1 cent off from what it's saying on my VA site that I should be getting. So I think that's just due to rounding. But what I've done is I've taken this payout schedule and I have basically scheduled out when these payments come in into my principal payment A schedule. And so that's what a lot of these payments are. So this is a GI Bill payment. This 1020 is a GI Bill payment. This 300 is plasma money. The orange ones, and you'll see there's only 2 orange ones for April and for May. Those are pretty easy amounts to make for an entire month driving for Uber in the city that I'm in. And so if I drive for 2 months, only 2 months, and I make $2,000 each month, like I said, it's super easy to do that. Then all of that combined, I will have my car paid off just as I wanted at the end of July. So I am extremely excited that my goal is attainable going into this. I thought it was a pie in the sky goal. It was something that I didn't really think I'd be able to do, but it seemed possible or plausible. Now that I've kind of forecasted everything out, and with the help of the GI Bill money that's put into my account every month, I think I'm going to be debt free by August 1st, which is awesome. Now I could push that on, I could probably push that a month or two, and not do Uber and just use more of my GI Bill money. But I would rather do a month or two of Uber, knowing that I'll get it paid off much sooner than dragging it on and waiting for my benefit payouts to pay out. So that is the good news. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So that is everything I wanted to go over in terms of my goals and my loan. There were a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. So in relation to the GI Bill benefit, I added in my can't assign funds a GI Bill tracker item. So if you're new, this is kind of where I keep tabs on money that is in my possession, but is not necessarily money that I am allocating yet. So you'll see I track my plasma donation money here. I actually donated today and got $50 for that donation. So when I do that, these are like holding categories until the time comes that I'm ready to figure out what I'm going to do with that money. I added a GI Bill line item so that when the payments come in, I can put them in there, kind of hold on to them until I'm ready to make those principal payments, and then shoot them over to Capital One. The other things, I've got them, like I said, I think I said, I've got them written down, but I also added in my, I think it's in my non-monthly, I added passport renewal. So I've had a passport for a while. Actually, it expired 2.5, 3 years ago. I don't travel internationally very often. I don't really go out of the country very often. So that's why I kind of let it elapse or expire. But several content creators have been talking about passport renewals, and it got me thinking I probably should renew mine, because you're able to renew an expired passport as long as it's within 5 years from the expiration date, which mine is. And a few other things have to be true in order for you to do that. Long story short, I fall into that category where I can renew it even though it's expired. So the benefit that, and the reason I'm going to do renewal as opposed to not, is because one of the benefits that I get with my new credit card, my venture rewards card, is I get global entry or TSA PreCheck. Or I'm not sure if it's like an every 5-year allotment, but I know right now one of the benefits of signing up for that card is they will pay up to $120 towards either global entry or a TSA PreCheck. When I was doing research into both of those benefits, I don't travel very often. I've never had TSA PreCheck. I've never even heard of global entry before. I wanted to look and see, okay, what's the difference between them both? Which one should I do? Because they only pay for one of them. And I found out that TSA PreCheck is kind of a standalone thing. But if you get global entry, you also get TSA PreCheck. So it's kind of like a double benefit. But you have to have a passport, an active passport, in order to get global entry or be approved for global entry. So that's why I'm now going through this preparation to get my passport renewed, and so that I can apply for global entry and also get TSA PreCheck. So basically, the credit card company will be paying for both benefits for the price of one, essentially. I don't have any plans of traveling abroad. I don't have any plans traveling frequently, but it's a benefit the credit card company is going to give me. They're going to pay for, and so I might as well take advantage of it while I have it. So I will more than likely start putting money aside for the passport renewal. And then as soon as I have the money to renew the passport, I will go online, do the paperwork that I need to, and then in 10 or 12 years, when the government decides they're going to process that request, I think it takes like 3 or 4 months, I don't know, but it's a while. I will have a passport for the next 10 years, and then I will get global entry and have TSA PreCheck with it. The last thing I need to add, I haven't added it yet, is last month I signed up for YouTube Premium. They were offering a 2-month free trial. I am super late to the game because I absolutely love YouTube Premium. I enjoy watching YouTube videos, and sometimes I watch really lengthy YouTube videos. And I don't have to watch ads. Seems like every 2 or 3 minutes there's an ad. I don't have to watch them. I think I have 1 more month on my trial. And so I think I'm going to keep it. I think it's definitely beneficial. I do watch a lot of YouTube, not only for like professional and personal growth, like watching YouTube videos on how to program things, how to code, budget things, but I also watch a lot of budget with me content creators. And so I'm constantly watching videos. and it feels good to not have to watch ads. And so I think it's definitely worth whatever the cost is. I honestly don't know what the cost is, but I think it's definitely worth it. So I'm going to add, I'm going to do YouTube Premium. Wow, I can't type. My microphone's in the way. Oh my goodness. What is going on? Okay, so I'm going to do YouTube Premium. Like I said, I don't know how much it is. I will probably, after I'm done recording this, I will look that up and put a target to it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to keep that. The last thing. Yeah, so the last thing I need to do before I close out my budget is I need to move available money. I'm probably going to move it to either my car fund or maybe my passport renewal. We'll see. Or discretionary. You know, so it'll move to something. But I'm going to use this money available item. And I don't have that many categories that have money available for me to do things with. I'm not going to do anything with those. I think gas and groceries is the only thing. My power is a sinking fund. That's sinking. This is sinking. I'm not going to move my sinking funds. My emergency fund, nothing there. That's going to stay there. Nothing in travel. No. Okay. So I'm not going to do anything with this household. That is basically a sinking line item that I'm growing. But I do have $7.37 in groceries left over and $12.20 in gas left over. I'm going to move this to ready to do that again. Just move this up to ready to assign. We'll move this one. Ready to assign. And that gives me just under $20. So I am going to I'm just going to put this in my passport renewal. Because I definitely want to fund this as soon as possible because I want to get that going. Just because it does take a while to process and everything. So I'm gonna put a target to this. I'm gonna create a target. $130. I need I'm just gonna say by I get paid the 8th, so I'll say by the 9th. How often can you repeat it? Oh, you can repeat it every multiple years? Oh, every 2 years. I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to repeat it. I'll track that. I guess I'll track that on my calendar. That way I know. It's good for 10 years. Yeah, it's good for 10 years. I'll put something on my Google Calendar that in like 9 years from now, I'm going to start saving for that. Okay, so we'll snooze this target. for the month of March. All right, so that's everything that I wanted to do to balance out everything with my budget, talk about the changes. So now let's get into looking at my reports. So one thing off the bat that looks extremely different is the amount of money I've spent this month. Now, obviously, I'm used to spending somewhere around $3,000, I don't know, $3,000, $3,500 every month. So yeah, I'm quite a lot over that. But there's a few things that's the reason for that. So obviously you can see my biggest expense was my extra car payment that I made recently, straight to principal. I paid a little over $2,000 to principal to kind of get a kickstart on my car loan. And then the other thing is these two items here, technology and office setup. So I spent $232.16 on office setup, which included this table, this chair, a mouse and keyboard, and then technology, that is the KVM switch, the second KVM switch that I purchased, which is working out great. I absolutely love just pressing a button, being able to bounce between both laptops, work and personal. So shout out to Geeky Life Savings for recommending a KVM switch. It has been a lifesaver. Thank you. Other than those two items, everything was pretty much standard. My rent, as always, is around $19.10-ish. The next couple months, it'll be a little bit more, but that's because I'm going to be using my credit card, which along with that is going to be a credit card fee of a little bit. But yeah, so that's going to be for 2 months. My regular car payment, $247.30. I made that in addition to my $2,000 principal payment. The funniest thing is that I spent more money on dog food than food for myself. This doesn't happen very often. I think this happened because, one, I had a lot of coupons for my groceries, and so my grocery bill when I got to the checkout was a lot less than I anticipated. And second, March was, I believe, a 5-week month. And because of the schedule of how often I buy dog food, this ended up being a month where I needed to purchase 2 boxes instead of normally 1. So that's the reason I spent more on my dog than me, but he's spoiled anyways, so that's fine. I paid for the year of MLB and Diamondbacks TV. That way I could watch the baseball season, which kicked off this past week. Last week was opening day. Car insurance is pretty standard, about $130. Internet, again, most of these bills are standard, $95.19. Also, I paid my Capital One annual fee of $95. Then everything else was pretty nominal. Dining out was almost $80, a little bit less than previous months, but still up there. I'm not concerned with this item. Most people, when they're on a budget journey, they're like, oh, we can't go eat out. Dining out is a waste of money. If there's one thing I've learned about this system of budgeting, the YNAB method, it's that nothing is bad if it's in your budget, right? You are sacrificing other things. That's just the name of the game, to dine out. But you are prioritizing your dollars to go towards that. I am. I don't know why I'm speaking about you. I am allocating money into my discretionary account, and dining out is a acceptable use of those funds in my life. So when I say I've dined out a lot, it's not that I'm saying I don't need to be dining out or I shouldn't be dining out. It's that I would like to be dining out throughout the month and not at a particular point in the month. And definitely not because I'm bored of the food that I have. I want it to just be like a treat, right? And so I do have a lot of work to do to get to the point to where dining out is not something I'm doing because I don't want to eat what I have, but more so something that I'm doing to reward myself for something in my life or whatever. But either way, it is an acceptable use of my discretionary funds, and even if I spent all of my money on dining out, I would still be okay. My cell phone is just about $75. My storage unit is $72. My power, last week, so if you don't know, I live in Arizona. Last week we had our first triple digit day of the year. So our temperatures are getting up there already. Like, we're not even done with spring and we're pretty much getting into summer. I feel like this is a little early for the temperatures that we're having, but nonetheless, I say that to say that my power bills are going to start going up and up and up. And so I'm hoping that the plan that I put in place of putting a fixed amount of $110 a month and letting the extra kind of sit and grow is going to help me. Now that the temperatures are increasing, my AC is going to be running a little bit more and my power bills are going to go more expensive. Goodies, this $50 is the dog bed that I purchased for my dog, which he absolutely hates. He doesn't like it. It's a crate bed. So it's designed to go in a crate for a puppy, and that's why it's waterproof, right? Puppies are incontinent. And so he doesn't like it. I haven't used it. I put it down once and he was not too sure about it. Definitely didn't seem like it was comfortable. So it's been in the corner of my room. His other bed is still there, but yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with that bed. I may just have to force him to use it. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what that charge is for. Gas, $37.80. Paramount Plus, I think I said this in a previous video, but I got Paramount Plus so that I could watch CBS, which is one of the channels that the men's basketball tournament is televised on. Exciting news about that. There were, on ESPN, there were about 24.5 million brackets filled out, and my rank is like 2,000. So I'm doing really good this year. If Florida wins, which is who I picked to win, I'm going to be entered into a random drawing for a chance at $5,000. They will be randomly selecting, I think 20 people for a $5,000 reward, like 25 people for a $1,000 reward. They have like different tiers, but in order to qualify for that, you have to pick the national champion, and I picked Florida. So I'm hoping that I win that. That would be freaking awesome to get $5,000 just for filling out a bracket. So the next thing was Spotify 1302, my ring. Discretionary. I don't. Oh, so that was notary. I had to fill, because I refinanced my car loan, Capital One needed me to fill out and notarize a limited power of attorney so that they could transfer the title into my name or into their name, I think. And so I had to get that notarized. So I went to UPS store to get that notarized because my bank requires my local bank, my Chase Bank right across the street, they don't do notaries. And the closest one was like 10 miles away, and you have to have an appointment, and their appointments are booked like 2 weeks out, and I wasn't about to wait 2 weeks to get it notarized. So I went to UPS and paid $10 to get it notarized. And then to round out the end of my expenses is Netflix. So all in all, $5,792.94, 2,000 of which went towards my car payment, and another 400-ish went towards technology items. I will more than likely be spending 1,000 or more each of the next couple months towards my car. So my expenses will still be up there, but I don't think they'll be quite as high as they are now, because I don't intend on purchasing any technology in the near future. Moving on to my income. Ooh. Already looked at those. These are my income sources. Like I said in the beginning, I get paid a 9 to 5, so I get direct deposit just under 4,000, well, a lot under 4,000. So 3,900 were paychecks. I got $5.09 in interest and cash back. I got a $500 check from Capital One. I think it was like a refund check from my truck loan. And then I brought in about $340 in plasma donations. So all in all, about $47,500. That's a weird way to put it. $47,050 in income. My expenses were obviously more. They were $57.92 for a net income of negative $1,042. But what that doesn't tell you, or what that doesn't reflect, is that I had that extra in savings that was rolled over. And so I wasn't in the red. I just spent savings beyond what I brought in income wise. So now I'm going to go and bring up my graph that I made. So this is a graph, two graphs that I made to mimic charts that were provided by Monarch Money, which is another budgeting platform that I used to be a part of. It allows you to compare this month, like the current month, to two different time periods, those time periods being the same month but last year. That's that first top chart. Then this bottom one is comparing your expenses to the previous month. So no surprise, it's definitely higher than my expenses this month were higher than either time period, much higher than February of last year. Not only was it 3 days more because February had 28 days, but also I made large payment to my car loan, which is kind of a non-standard thing. Even compared to February of last year, I spent $4,046, whereas I spent $5,800. So without the principal payment and without the $400 in technology, I would be below the spending of last year, February. And I would probably be in line with my typical monthly average, which is about 3,500. So nothing that's too concerning. Like I said, the excess that I spent was savings. It was spent the way it was intended to be spent. So yeah, I'm completely on track with where I'm at. Come August, I will be debt free. I will have that $250 that I'm spending to my car loan in my budget to do things with. I'm going to really need to start thinking hard about what I'm going to do with that money, because August will be here before you know it. And I need to have a plan for that. Because if I don't have a plan, I will look back and wonder where that money went. And I don't want to do that again. So that is my recap for the month of March. I am moving along, getting to where I need to go. A lot of you have been commenting on being proud that I'm getting a month ahead. And my response to all of you is, I'm not even trying, right? That's how easy it is with this system to get a month ahead. I'm not even thinking about it. It was not something that was in my goals for this year. It's not something that I was thinking about doing until at least next year. But being disciplined and making sound financial decisions with how I'm going to allocate my funds is getting me to the point to where I think by the end of this year, especially if I finish paying off my car loan in August, I think the next 6 months, I can certainly get myself a month ahead easily, right? Especially with $250 extra of my own paycheck money going back into my budget. Yeah, and then I honestly don't know what my 2026 goal will be. Maybe getting my emergency fund to like a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Maybe I have no idea. That's probably the most immediate savings goal that I have. That would set me up for being ready for a catastrophe if it happened. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Stay tuned. Like I said in my last video, this is going to be my last Wednesday video, I think, for a while. Certainly for the next foreseeable future. I'm going to be shifting to making videos every Friday. That way it gives me more time to kind of record the video and get it out with some of the other things in my schedule that happen in the beginning and the middle of the month. So yeah, I'll see you next week.